Linus Tech Tips coverage of CES 2016 is brought to you by Squarespace. Build it beautiful. And on the subject of building it beautiful, we're here in the Swiftech suite, and they have actually a surprising number of things on display. They're launching not one, but two. Actually, no, not two, but three. No, not three, but actually 2 times that. It's like 3 times 2 of one type of product. Anyway, they've got 6 different all-in-one liquid coolers, everything from a dual 120 to a dual 140 to a triple 120mm radiator design with a couple of different variants. But first, let's walk through all the changes that they've made from the X series. So this is the H, whatever number corresponds to the side, X2. Very creatively named. Congratulations, you guys. So first of all, they have made some changes to the mounting system for the CPU block. Instead of being subjected to that whole finicky hold the backplate on or maybe get sticky residue all over your backplate while you try and screw it in from the front thing, they've gone with a male to female adapter so that right out of the box you can screw it into an LGA 2011 socket, or with the adapter you can screw it into the M3 threaded, so the actually thinner threaded, more traditional backplate with one little adapter, and then you screw the block right into that. I've seen other guys use this system in the past, and it is legitimately better. The next thing you'll probably notice about it immediately is, whoa! That block looks really, really cool. In addition to having LED lighting effects, and more on the LED lighting effects later actually, they've also added an acrylic top that I think looks absolutely sublime, especially when you see it installed in a system with the LEDs turned on. To go with that, they've changed over from their traditional sort of black kind of boring tubing to a clear tubing design that is going to complement very well this little addition. Now, this is cool. The first thing I said when Swiftech told me, hey, we're going to include dyes in the box was, are they any good? And the answer was, they're mayhem. And I was like, you gotta be kidding me. A, you're using the best dyes on the market, best regarded dyes on the market, bar none. And B, you're actually just saying it. Yeah, we partnered up with those guys. We're including their dyes. You mix and match any color you want, and boom, your clear tubes look like that. Which leads us to, and I know this is a lot of different changes actually, considering that all they called it was the X2 and not the X completely something different, because there are more changes on the radiator. They've upgraded the paint finish. It is much more durable, actually feels nicer to the touch. They have completely altered the reservoir, and I think it looks great. So they've got an LED strip that actually illuminates the water, whether it's clear or whether it's colored. It is just I don't know what to say about it. It's clearer, it's larger, and they've managed to do all of this without making it any higher profile and any more likely to interfere with anything. Because if you look at it from the side, actually, compared to even most custom, well, I shouldn't say most, even custom water cooling radiators, the tanks at the end are very, very short. The pump hasn't really been altered. It's still an MCP 350, so that's your quieter version of the DDC. It is still PWM controlled, but on the subject of PWM control, I also want to introduce you guys to this little number. So I've used their PWM controller probably most famously in our whole room water cooling setup where we ran a bunch of radiators on the roof of a house, but they have made some changes this time. So now you've got the one that controls the others. You've got only 3 4-pin fan headers, but they've added some other interesting things. So these little headers right here are for addressable LEDs, which means that each individual LED is controllable and mixable, and with the right software, something they're actually working on, you can actually create effects with them. But if you're not even into effects anyway and you just want basic control, this puppy will do that for you too. There's a little button on board, so what you got to do is you take out your case side panel, you open it up, you reach in, you find your little fan controller doodad that you tucked away somewhere because it's a bunch of wires, you press the button. Actually, you don't have to do that. So they've actually put a little 2-pin connector so that you can change your reset switch, something very few people use, and some case manufacturers don't even include, or any other button. You can wire it up yourself, and you can cycle through different colors. So this technology is going to get even better over time because it allows us to mix not only colors, but also different brightnesses for a wide variety of different effects. Now, I talked about the radiator, talked about the reservoir, talked about the pump. What I've ignored is the fans. Those aren't Helix fans. Those aren't Swiftech fans at all. In fact, those are noise blocker fans. Those are their E-loops fans. Well, hold on a second. Once again, acknowledging that, unfortunately, designing widely regarded as the best, if not one of the best fans on the market, is not freaking easy. Swiftech has decided to just straight up partner with Noise Blocker on these in order to provide the absolute finest of performance for their customers. That is assuming that they're willing to pay. So these SKUs are available in a couple of different configurations each. That's why there are actually 6 different models. The dual 120mm version of the base model is $139.99. The dual 140 comes in at $149.99, if I recall correctly, and the triple 120 is $165. If you want the version with the Noise Blocker fans, you're going to pay an additional $50 per SKU, but the good news is that you also get Swiftech's compression fittings instead of their barbed and collared fittings that, although very reliable, aren't as attractive looking, especially if you're looking to expand your system in the future. And expand you can. Just like the last generation, it is no problem to add a video card, add 2 video cards, add another radiator. It's an MCP 350. It is legitimately custom, aftermarket grade, and honestly, with all the improvements that they've made to it this time around, everything from improved case compatibility to improved CPU mounting to improved aesthetic, in my opinion, this is looking like a pretty attractive product, considering that for the base model, they haven't altered the price over the last generation. And we've got another little treat over here. This is the Apogee SKF, the upcoming flagship standalone enthusiast block from Swiftech. They won't tell me everything about it necessarily, like I don't know anything about the internal flow optimizations that they're saying are particularly badass. But what they did tell me, because the first thing I said when I saw it was, holy crap, those fins are really close together, and it's kind of smug smile. Yeah, they're 0.15 millimeter in thickness, so about a piece of paper with that much distance between them. Like, it's freaking unbelievable. So I was like, come on, you gotta be kidding me here. How did you do that? Well, the answer is not by taking a hunk of copper and then running a bit through it to create channels. The answer is through a technique called skiving. That's where the SKF, skive fin, well, naming schemes, man, right? That's where that comes from. So what's actually done is like a blade is used to slice, to shave the copper and then bend it up into a fin over and over and over again. So the fins are actually like kind of curvy if you were to look at them from the side, but that is how they are able to achieve such tiny little fins. And of course, the looks, being able to stare at it and admire through the window of the block how tight they are together is cool. But if it didn't contribute anything to performance, then I'm sure they wouldn't bother doing it. But Swiftech's claiming, compared to their previous flagship, up to a 6-degree improvement, something I would have thought was impossible at this point. So thanks for checking out not only this, but all of our Linus Tech Tips coverage of CES 2016, and another huge thank you to Squarespace for allowing us to be here. Remember, you're building a website, whether it's a blog, a store, just a page full of pictures of your face for whatever reason, or someone else's face, you creep. You can do it over on Squarespace. Visit squarespace.com/Linus. Use offer code Linus to save 10%.